Your mind never shuts up, not for a single second. You wake up and the chatter begins. You lie down and it gets louder. You call it thinking. You call it planning. You call it being productive. But Alan Watts saw through the lie. You are not overthinking. You are running from the one thing that terrifies you most. Silence. The void where no thought exists. The space where you might have to face what you really are. For decades, this British philosopher who brought Eastern wisdom to the West watched people drown in their own mental noise. Fear masked his thought, and he discovered something that most of us spend our entire lives avoiding. What you're about to hear isn't comfortable. It will strip away the illusion you've built around your endless thinking. But if you stay until the end, you might just discover the freedom that's been waiting for you in the silence you've been running from your entire life. The noise addiction. Here's something Alan Watts noticed that will make you uncomfortable. You're addicted to noise. Not just external noise, the TV in the background, the music in your ears, the endless scroll of your phone. No, you're addicted to the noise inside your own head. A person who thinks all the time has nothing to think about except thoughts. So he loses touch with reality and lives in a world of illusions. Think about your average morning. Before your feet even touch the floor, your mind is already racing. What do I have to do today? Did I forget something? What did that text message mean? Why did she look at me that way? This isn't planning. This isn't being responsible. This is a mind terrified of what might happen if it stopped. Thinking as escape. Watts understood that constant thinking is not a sign of intelligence. It's a symptom of fear. The same way an anxious person paces back and forth, your mind paces through thoughts, desperately trying to avoid standing still. But what exactly is it running from? The void within. Watts called it the void, that space between thoughts where nothing exists, and nothing is precisely what terrifies you. See, from the moment you were born, you were taught to fill every moment. Silence was awkward. Boredom was failure. Doing nothing was lazy. So you learned to keep your mind busy at all times. But the void never went away. It's always there, waiting beneath your thoughts. Every time you catch a glimpse of it in that quiet moment before sleep, in that pause between activities, your mind floods with thoughts to cover it up. Why? Because the void asks a question you cannot answer with thinking. Who are you? Not your name, not your job, not your relationships, not your memories. Who are you when all of that is stripped away? If this question is resonating deep within you right now, hit like and subscribe to keep exploring these depths with me. Because what Alan Watts discovered about this void will change everything you thought you knew about yourself. The thinker illusion. Here's where Watts becomes truly radical. He didn't just say you think too much. He said the thinker itself is an illusion. Trying to define yourself is like trying to bite your own teeth. You believe there's a you sitting inside your head, directing your thoughts like a conductor directing an orchestra. But Watts, drawing from ancient Zen teachings, revealed something disturbing. There is no conductor. The thoughts are thinking themselves. No separate thinker. What you call I is just another thought. A thought that believes it's thinking all the other thoughts. It's like a wave thinking it's separate from the ocean. This is why you can't stop thinking by trying to stop thinking. The one who's trying to stop is the very thing perpetuating the cycle. Every time you say I need to quiet my mind, you've created more mental noise. The thinker trying to eliminate thoughts is like a fire trying to put itself out. This illusion keeps you trapped in the endless loop. Society's conspiracy. Watts saw something else most people miss. Society needs you to keep thinking. A mind that's always busy is a mind that can be controlled. They give you problems to solve, goals to chase, fears to manage, and endless content to consume. Think about it. From childhood, you were trained to always be doing something productive. Daydreaming in class, pay attention. Staring out the window, you're wasting time. Sitting quietly, what's wrong with you? 1. Schools teach you to fill every moment with activity. 2. Jobs demand constant productivity and output. 3. Media floods you with endless stimulation. 4. Even relaxation becomes another task to complete. The system doesn't want you in silence. Because in silence, you might realize that most of what you're chasing is meaningless. You might question why you're working so hard, You might discover that the happiness you're pursuing is already here, hidden beneath all the noise. Control through distraction. Watts saw that our entire culture is a conspiracy against inner peace, and you've been a willing participant without even knowing it. The anxiety engine. Now let's look at what all this thinking actually produces. Anxiety. Constant, low-grade, never-ending anxiety. We are living in a culture entirely hypnotized by the illusion of time, in which the so-called present moment is felt as nothing but an infinitesimal hairline between an all-powerfully causative past and an absorbingly important future. Your mind bounces between regret about the past and worry about the future. It's never here, and because it's never here, you're never at peace. Past to anxiety to future. An endless loop. Watts explained that this is not a bug in human consciousness. It's what happens when you identify completely with thought. When you believe you are the thinker, you inherit all of the thinker's problems. And the thinker has infinite problems because thinking creates problems. That's what it does. The mind is a problem-creating machine that you've mistaken for yourself. Every thought contains the seed of another thought. Every solution creates new problems. This is why more thinking never leads to peace. It only leads to more sophisticated anxiety. Watching the mind. So what's the way out? Watts didn't tell you to stop thinking. That's impossible and counterproductive. Instead, he offered something far more radical. Watch, just watch. Become aware of your thoughts without trying to change them. Like sitting by a river watching the water flow, you don't try to stop the river. You don't judge each wave. You simply observe. Awareness without interference. When you watch your thoughts without engaging them, something miraculous happens. You realize you're not the thoughts. You're the awareness in which thoughts appear. This isn't a philosophical concept. It's a direct experience available to you right now. Notice, there's thinking happening, and there's something aware of the thinking. Muddy water is best cleared by leaving it alone. You don't clear your mind by fighting it. You clear it by stepping back and watching. The mud settles on its own. The thoughts slow down when no one is there to keep them spinning. This is the beginning of freedom from the mental prison you've built around yourself. Silence as teacher. Here's what Watts discovered about silence that changes everything. Silence isn't empty. It's full, fuller than any thought could ever be. The silence beneath the noise contains everything you've been searching for. Think about music. What makes music beautiful? It's not just the notes. It's the silence between the notes. Without the pauses, without the space, music becomes noise. Your life is the same. Without silence, your thoughts become noise. Meaningless chatter that drowns out the deeper music of existence. Silence to music. In the silence, Watts taught you discover something thinking can never give you. Direct experience of being alive. Not the idea of being alive, not thoughts about life, but life itself. Raw, immediate, overwhelming, direct, unfiltered reality. This is what you've been running from, not because it's painful, but because it's too much, too real, too present. The mind creates thoughts as a buffer against the intensity of actually being here now. The cosmic joke. Watts often said that enlightenment feels like getting a cosmic joke. And here's the punchline. You've spent your entire life thinking your way to happiness, when happiness was always here before the first thought arose. The peace you're seeking through endless mental activity. It's available the moment mental activity stops. Not tomorrow, not after you solve all your problems. Right now. This is the real secret of life. To be completely engaged with what you are doing in the here and now. And instead of calling it work, realize it is play. The joke is that you already have what you're looking for. You always did. But you were too busy thinking to notice, running in circles to arrive where you already are. This is why Watts laughs so much, because once you see it, it's hilarious. All that struggle, all that effort, all that thinking, and the treasure was buried under the very spot where you stood the whole time. But understanding the joke intellectually isn't enough. The invitation. So here's Watts' invitation, and it's terrifyingly simple. Stop right now, not forever. Not even for an hour, just for a moment. Let your thoughts do whatever they want while you do nothing. Don't engage, don't resist. Don't try to have a spiritual experience. Just be. In this moment of surrender, you discover what was always here. Notice, the world doesn't fall apart when you stop thinking. The sky doesn't collapse. Your problems don't multiply. If anything, many of your problems reveal themselves as phantoms, created by the very thinking that claimed to solve them. 1. Your worth doesn't depend on constant productivity. 2. Your safety doesn't require endless planning. 3. Your identity doesn't need continuous reinforcement. 4. Your life doesn't demand perpetual mental commentary. This is what silence teaches when you finally have the courage to enter it. Not information, not insights, not answers, but something far more valuable, the freedom of simply being alive, without the burden of constant thought. The question is, are you ready to accept this invitation? Beyond thought. Alan Watts didn't promise that silence would make your life easier. He promised something better. Truth, the truth of what you are beneath all the mental noise. The truth that you're not a thinking thing desperately trying to survive. You're the infinite awareness in which thinking appears. You're not the wave. You're the ocean. You are an aperture through which the universe is looking at and exploring itself. When you know this, not as a belief but as direct experience, overthinking loses its grip. Not because you've conquered your mind, but because you've seen through the illusion that there was ever a separate mind to conquer. Beyond the illusion, the fear of silence dissolves because you realize silence is your home. It's where you came from, it's what you are. The thoughts are just visitors passing through. Let them come. Let them go. You remain unchanging, untouched, the silent witness to the dance of existence. This is what Alan Watts spent his life pointing toward. Not a destination, but a remembering of what was never lost. You came here thinking you had a problem with overthinking. Now you see the truth. There is no problem. There never was. Only a mind creating problems to avoid the silence where problems don't exist. Freedom in stillness. Alan Watts didn't teach techniques or methods. He pointed at the moon and hoped you'd stop staring at his finger. The moon is silence. It's been there your whole life, waiting patiently behind the clouds of thought. The meaning of life is just to be alive. It is so plain and so obvious and so simple. And yet, everybody rushes around in a great panic as if it were necessary to achieve something beyond themselves. Tonight, when you lie down and the thoughts start racing, remember this. You don't have to fight them. You don't have to stop them. You don't have to understand them. You just have to see that you are not them. And in that seeing, silence will find you. If you made it this far, comment silence found to prove you're among those brave enough to stop running. The wisdom of the ages is yours. Use it well. If this opened something in you, subscribe for more. The vault has deeper treasures waiting.